Yo, what's up guys, it's Turn here and we're back with a brand new video, and today we're bringing you some more Roster Mania content. So, today we're going to be talking about the LA Thieves roster. As you know, this roster did make a shit ton of changes during the regular season. Um, Players like Temp getting dropped, Slasher being benched, players like Draza coming in, TJ, Venom, um, John. I mean, we've seen a lot of combinations in terms of players, but I think that they finally got it right in terms of rosters. So the roster that they are going into Cold War with will be Envoy, Octane, Kenny, and Draza. So I think this team is probably one of the better ones that I've seen. Obviously it was rumored. We did kind of know beforehand. But now that it's officially announced, I figured I better make a video. Obviously, you guys saw my Optic Envy WrestleMania video on Saturday. So, this will be my 100 Thieves video. And kind of just what I think about this roster. If I were to give it an overall grade, I'd probably say an A+. I think they got better, a lot better than they were. I think Octane, I'm not sure if he's an upgrade over Slasher. He's definitely equivalent, though, as we've kind of seen in past games. And then you bring in the likes of Envoy, you keep Draza, and you also keep your superstar player, which is Kenny. The only thing I think that they could have done that would have maybe made this roster better would be Hook for Draza, just keeping Hook on the lineup. But I think overall they probably made a better choice. I think Draza is an unknown, and I think that CDL teams tend to want to kind of have that player on their team. Obviously, Draza's very skilled. He's also flexible. So could see Kenny running a sub. Um, Obviously, I'm pretty sure they don't know yet because they haven't played the game. But if there were a PPSH, I'd probably say it's pretty safe to assume Kenny's gonna run the sub. Um, Obviously, we saw Draza's very good with an AR. He also came in the league as a sub. And a lot of the videos I've kind of watched of people talking about this roster, people don't remember that Draza came in as kind of an entry sub, and he was that in MW for them. So, or obviously not them, but the Optic LA team that he was brought on to. So I think this team fits very well. I think you have Envoy, who's a very smart sub, second sub, um, and Draza complements him very well. And if you have Kenny running the sub, then I think he'll be just as good. Um, Obviously, I think the strong suit of this team, though, if I had to put my money on it, would probably be the ARs. Octane, just kind of a staple. Um, Very good. Human turret, as most people call him. I'm excited to see what he can do with a team that he's very confident in. Obviously, we haven't seen the best of him with last year. He was very good in MW, but his team was awful. And Envoy kind of getting a new start with this LA Thieves lineup. So yeah, uh, I think that the management did a great job in getting these two players. I think that they probably would have been pretty good with keeping Slasher, though. I think that it would have been fine. They would have worked it out either way. But with kind of the way things went down with Slasher at the end of last year, and the mid-season where he got benched, I can definitely see why they decided to move on from him. Also, Octane and Kenny very close. Octane loving the 100 Thieves brand, and I think it just made the most sense out of all the moves that were made. And just in terms of this roster, I think that Octane and Kenny are going to be kind of an interesting dynamic. I know we saw this in Black Ops 4, but I don't think we saw it like this. Obviously, you had Slasher in there. It was a 5v5 game, very different. Last time they played together, though, they did have a lot of success. I'm glad that Draza got a chance on this roster because I think that just with everything he went through last year and just getting subbed in and out, and I think that he earned his spot. I think a lot of people realize that. I don't know why he kind of wasn't talked about on being on this team, especially when they were looking for potential fourths going in the Cold War season. I think it was Slasher, Kenny, and TJ. I feel like he had draws on the bench, and they brought in Temp. I feel like, obviously, hindsight's 2020. Sorry about that. But obviously, if they knew how good Draza was, they probably would have had him starting to begin with. But I feel like he probably should have been on that team at the start of this year anyway. But it's good to kind of see him get the respect that he deserves now, and also get to play with three pretty damn good players for his first like actual season starting the whole time. We're assuming. Um, but yeah, I think there won't be many roster changes for this roster over the season. But I think a lot of people kind of thought that last year, and there ended up being I think it was the most in the whole league. I think it was most than or more than most teams had with both seasons of the CDL being combined. I don't think we see that this year. I think this roster is pretty straightforward. Um, I also think it adds an interesting dynamic when you have a player like Envoy. Obviously, I was very surprised when he got released by Optic, but I think it's the kind of the perfect piece to this puzzle. I think Octane was probably signed before the season was even over. I think that's kind of the general consensus by everybody, unless 100 Thieves came out and won champs, which obviously they did not. But yeah, so I think this 100 Thieves roster will be the best one we've seen, and I think that this is probably a top. It's hard to say top three because like I mentioned in the previous video, all these rosters are very good. I think the reason why this one stands out is because you have a player like Envoy who will kind of make those plays to win the game, and Draza is very selfless. Like that sub combo kind of gives him an edge over other teams. Their ARs are obviously very good as well, but I think top three, maybe win an event or two. I think it just depends on how well these players work together and mesh. Obviously, in the content pieces that we've seen, they seem to be getting along pretty well, so I wouldn't be surprised if they come out frying next year. But I could also see this team lagging behind at the beginning. If Octane is not grinding, we do expect him to be, but I think that's the only way this team kind of comes out and starts off the year bad. And that would kind of spiral the rest of the year, which you saw happen with this year's roster. So, excited to see what this team can do. But yeah, so I think if I had to rate this roster move, I'd probably give it an A plus as well. I know I gave that on the last one, but I mean it's kind of hard not to when these teams are as stacked as they are. Uh, but I think the league is a lot of people say it's top heavy. I can see why, but I think that some of these other rosters, as they get announced, will surprise a lot of people. And I think there's leagues getting to the point where it's very upset potential by a lot of teams. And I don't think FaZe will be as dominant with teams like this forming. But yeah. So, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Comment down below and tell me what you guys think of this roster. Anything you would have done differently. I think it was pretty well thought out and pretty well put together. But yeah. So, hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to leave a like, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.